Well, hello and how are you? Hey, it's Shenandoah Briscoe once again coming to you live right out of St. Charles, Missouri. Yes, sir, this looks like blog number 121. Yeah, we're going to dedicate this one today to a friend of mine named Scott. Because, well, we had a conversation today about shaving. Yes, sir, and he's a pretty tough feller. And he only shaves during the week, but he says he shaves. I'm sure he's so tough he can't shave. I'm sure this is how he takes care of it, which kind of brought my mind back to this here song. So here we go. I'm going to have you bear with me one more day for a song because I know my voice has been out of it, but I think we're going to get her in today. Let me get a little bit of a little bit of water to wet the whistle before we take off, alrighty? As I sat down one evening, 'twas in a small cafe, a 40-year-old waitress to me these words did say, I see you are a logger, and not just a common bum, 'cause no one but a logger stirs his coffee with his thumb. My lover was a logger, there's none like him today. If you poured whiskey on it, he'd eat a bale of hay. He never shaved his whiskers from off his horny hide. He hammered in the bristles and bit them off inside. My logger came to see me, 'twas on a winter's day. He held me in a fond embrace which broke 3 vertebrae. He kissed me when we parted, so hard it broke my jaw. I could not speak to tell him he forgot his mackinaw. I saw my logger lover go striding through the snow, going gamely homeward at 48 below. The weather tried to freeze him, it did its very best. At 100 degrees below zero, he buttoned up his vest. It froze clear down to China, it froze to the stars above. At 1,000 degrees below zero, it froze my logger love. They tried in vain to thaw him, and if you believe it, sir, they made him into an axe blades to cut the Douglas fir. And so I lost my lover, and to this day, this cafe I have come, and here I wait till someone stirs his coffee with his thumb. There you go. Can't shave 'em, gotta beat 'em in with a hammer and bite 'em off inside. Okay, alright. That was just about it. Anyway, I had to bring it back up. I had minimized it, and it was one of those things. I learned that today that I could minimize it and go ahead and record. So I decided to go ahead and minimize and record. Yes, sir, I tell you what, I'm going to have a good old time this winter. Boy, I tell you, 'cause I got me a new device today. Also, it's a mini cam, and I'm not wearing it right now. Possibly could have and should have, so I could have filmed myself and see what angle of filming I was going to be getting, so that I would know what I was going to be getting when I was traveling outward towards the crowd out in the outdoors. But anyway, I don't know that for fact, and I don't know for sure what kind of a view we're going to be getting. But one of these days, I'll do that. I'll hook her up before it gets too warm outside. Next week, it's supposed to be warming up nice. Right now, boy, it was cold outside today. I had to put on my big woolies. Yes, sir. put on the old socks again, 'cause I've been wearing shorts the last few days. And, well, I got on my sweatpants, I got my long socks, I got my, I had my big old woolly coat on. But it was cold, it was cold. But it's nice and toasty in the house, and that's the way I like to keep it. Of course, drives my roommate nuts and my caregiver. My aide, when she comes to work for me today, she comes to work rain or shine, you know. But it seems to be that it's all, I always like to keep my house a little warm. Well, you gotta figure these girls are up and working and walking around me and doing this and tugging on me and rolling on me and pushing and flipping and flopping and bringing my knees up to my chest and twisting them back and forth and bending my bones and shaking my muscles and going through all that motion, and I'm just kind of laying there taking it, whereas they're doing all the work. And, well, you know what? I imagine they get a little warm. And I figure they can turn that fan on and blow themselves a little bit. Makes me cold, but that's beside the point. They turn the air conditioner down a little bit, and then as soon as they get out of here, whoosh, I'm back up to heat. 'Cause, well, I get cold. And because I'm dormant. I don't move around a lot, but they sure do. Anyway, I gotta hand it out to True Love too, because there's where my aides come from, and they do me a world of good. Now I also have a roommate and caregiver. She's kind of like a live-in caregiver. Let's put it that way. And she's a wonder to have around. Well, because she does all the odds and ends that are left behind. Plus, she takes care of the house and does. We do all our shopping together and everything like that. So that's a good thing. And then we get to go to church, and I get to see all the peoples out there in church. So hey, can't knock that. That's for sure. Anyway, hey, what am I gonna do? I got to sing another one today. Bear with, because I listened to myself yesterday, and well, yesterday was pretty pitiful. Actually, I told stories yesterday, and they were pretty pitiful because, well, I didn't know the stories completely anyway when I started with them. Which reminds me of some of the stories I tell of my own, because, well, my own stories I know, and I can tell them. Sometimes I forget that a lot of people haven't heard all my stories and my wheelchair stories and stuff. But, they're back there earlier on my videos. And, of course, a lot of things wouldn't happen had I been not. A lot of excitement in my life wouldn't have happened had I not been in the wheelchair. But then again, there are things that have happened prior to being in the wheelchair that, kind of exciting things that, well, not exciting per se. I mean, just things that are kind of goofy little stories that happened to me. Like right over here on my arm. I don't know if I can get this shirt to slide up. I'm going to try to. Yeah, can't get it to slide up quite far enough. But anyway, right up here, about right up there across there, there's a jailhouse tattoo that says Bush, which stands for Bush Beer. Now, the story I always tell goes like this. It says, they said, well, how did you get that tattoo? Well, I myself says, well, I was sitting there drinking up on the Bush Beer, and then the same feller that was throwing the party there, he asked me what I wanted, referring to a tattoo. But of course, I was in a easy boy chair, and I shook my can, and it was empty, and I said, Bush. So then I humbly passed out. Well, that's not exactly the way it happened, but that's the story I like to tell. Anyway, the way it happened was I did not pass out. I knew what was going on all along. But anyway, he's poking with he's got the needle and he's got the thread wrapped around it, and he's dipping it in the Indian ink, and he's poking it in there and poking it in there, and he's doing the B, and then he's got the U and the S and the C and the H, and got the whole 9 yards there in a nice black colored ink. Now, when it comes time to do the red line underneath, well, he didn't want to waste time by using the needle and wrapping thread in red Indian ink. So, how do we decide to do it? Well, how about this? Why don't we just kind of scrape it a little bit with a razor blade, and then we can pour the red ink right in there, and that way we don't got to do all that pin poking stuff. So, what do? We get our little razor blade and we go to scraping on it a little bit, and, well, you know what? Red ink doesn't take very well when the red blood is pushing it out. So, there is no red line underneath. There's a little fine scar, but you can't see it anymore. It just went away. So, anyway, that was how I got my bush tattoo. Well, back before my accident, got to get me a little bit of the elixir. The little H2O. That's God's elixir for us all. Anyway, hey, back when prior to the accident, I was working out at Bankley, which is now Holland Corp, out there in Warrenton, Missouri. And I worked in a machine shop, and I had a little tool. What was it? It's a finishing tool for metal, and so I was grinding I decided I didn't really like that tattoo no more, so I was slowly grinding it off with this little finishing tool. People think, well, how can you do that without hurting? Well, I've got a fairly high pain tolerance, and so therefore I was just grinding it off. Each day I'd grind a little more off, and, it'd scab up in a little bit, and you just rub it all down with some Vaseline, just like as though if you were getting a new tattoo. You just rub it down with Vaseline every time you get done grinding on it. And then after a little while, you start to lightening up them letters. Well, I don't know what happened, but, it was fairly light at the time of the accident. But I guess for say that when I go out during the summertime, I'm usually wearing sleeveless shirts. Well, I get a lot of sunlight on there. And, well, that H it done come back with a vengeance. So it's just as clear today as the day it was put on there. So I've got my whole bush tattoo right back again. Doggone it. Well, let's see, what else could I talk about there? That was back in the day. That was back in the year I had me old Ford pickup truck, and I had put me a sliding glass window in the back of it, and, well, of course, my other window, there was nothing wrong with it. It was still fully intact. I had it laying in the bed of the truck, and it was wrapped up in a blanket, but I forgot all about it, and we were doing some hill climbing, and, well, I went hill climbing up this hill and got on top, and when I did, and the back wheels come up over the top of the hill, they jumped up a little bit and then slammed down, and when they did, shattered goes my window in the back of the truck. And, well, so much for ever wanting to replace that if I needed to. So there you go. The only reason I put the sliding glass window in there was because I used to drink a lot. Yes, sir. Pepsi. And RC. And an occasional beer, too. But anyway, made it a lot easier to get rid of them aluminum cans. You just pop open that there sliding glass, toss your soda can out in the back there, and it'd be in the bed of the truck. And then ever so often, it was time to go to the aluminum recycler and just shovel the bed right on off into the bins, and take that bin in there and have them weigh it up and get your $30-40 worth of aluminum. Because, well, hey, I would. Hey, it wasn't all mine. I'm telling you, they weren't all my cans. I had friends. We'd sit around that old truck and we'd have a good old time. We'd fill that truck bed up, that's for sure. And if nothing else, we'd add the old screen doors and the aluminum siding and whatever you can gather up. You just throw it all in the back of the old pickup truck and run her on down to the old recycler. These days they got these recycle bins that they put out, and they put all your recyclable goods in them, and then you pay the trash man to come and pick it up. And yet, you can still take stuff to the recycler, and guess who gets paid? That's right, you get paid. So why do you got to end up paying somebody else to come and take your recycled goods so that they can be paid? Hey, look, I hadn't even noticed, but hey, my time's up. And you know what I've got to say about that? Well, this is Shenandoah Briscoe saying hello and how are you? God love you, and so do I. So y'all have a blessed day. We'll see you tomorrow, alrighty? Well, alrighty then. Have a good one. Goodbye.